Hi, Algebra students. This is your first set of notes in our new unit on data analysis. Today we're going to talk about measure of center and variation. And as you can see, you're probably going to be familiar with a little bit of the vocabulary we're going to talk about, but we will definitely expand on those ideas and use them at a little bit higher level. So the first three vocab words we have are mean, median, and mode. And you might remember that the mean is the average of a set of data. So you add up all the numbers and you divide it by the number of numbers in your data set. Okay, and then you can see right here that you have a statistical representation for the mean, which we won't be using too much, but you might see that in some of your later classes. The median is the middle number when you average, sorry, not when you average, it's just the middle number in a set of data when you write all the numbers in numerical order. So remember that if you have an even set of data, then you need to average those two middle numbers. The next term is mode, and remember that's the most occurring number. And you can have no mode if none of the numbers repeat more than one time. You can also have more than one mode if several numbers repeat the same number of times. And then all of these were what we're going to refer to as our measures of center. So what we're going to be doing is making some comparisons about those measures of center and which one of those is the best representation of our data. We're also going to be looking at outliers today. Outliers are numbers that are this should say greater than or much less than other values in the set of data. There's not always an outlier, but sometimes there is one, and it will definitely affect those measures of center. Please feel free to pause at this time and copy any of the extra notes that I've written at the top for you. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and move on to our first example. Okay, in this set of data, we're looking at students' hourly wages for those working at an amusement park. And I've already taken the time to put all of these in my graphing calculator. And I've shown you right here that I ended up with a total of $77.20. And if you divide by 8, you get the mean for this set of data, which is $9.65. Okay, please feel free to pause and add those and double check my work on your own. Also a good idea to sometimes add them more than once or just double check your calculations just in case you enter anything wrong into your calculator. So the next thing I've done to calculate our median is organized all of my data from least to greatest. So you'll see that right here. Again, please take time to do this on your own as well. I'm looking for the middle number. So the first thing I'm going to do is count these up. By the way, when I do record them, I usually just cross them off as I go. So I didn't show you that, but it's always a good strategy just to keep track. So if you count them up, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers in your set of data. So it means this is exactly halfway, right between the fourth and the fifth number. So remember I said if you have two middle numbers, then you want the average or exactly halfway between them. So technically you would add and divide by 2. We're just using good number sense. I know that that is $8.70. So that's our median. And then our mode is our most occurring number in the set of data. And we just have one mode this time. It is that $8.25. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next question. Actually, I'm going to go to the last question, question C, because really you need that to help you understand question B. So we're looking for an outlier in the set of data. So remember, the outlier is any number that is much greater or much less than all of the numbers in the set of data. And hopefully you can easily see that the outlier right here is the $16.50. Okay, so going back to question C, it says which measure of center, meaning again, mean, median, or mode, which of those best represents the set of data? And then you need to explain, which means in words, you need to tell why. Okay, so I'm going to explain this and then I'll write an answer so you can copy this. But hopefully you can see that the mean is extremely high. So it's actually higher than 7 of the 8 salaries. So that is not a good representation of the data. The mode is actually not a great representation because it's the lowest number in the set of the data. So it doesn't really give an overall representation of the range. So we're going to go with the median as the best representation of that data. And I'll write an answer here and you can pause the video and copy it if you'd like. Okay, so I said the median is the best representation of data because it's closest to the average of the wages, not including the outlier. The mean is higher than all of the other wages except one, and the mode only represents the lowest wage. Okay, as I mentioned, please take some time to pause the video and copy that down if you need to, or put it into your own words if you want. I'm going to go ahead and move on. So in this next question, it says, how does the outlier affect the mean, the median, and the mode? So they want you to be specific about how it actually changes these answers. So what you want to do is imagine what the data would look like without the outlier in the set of data. So for example, for the mean, I'm going to take that $16.50 and subtract it from the $77.20 that we got as our original total. That leaves me with $60.70, and I would now have 7 pieces of data. So my new mean would be $8.67, which is a much better representation of the data. By the way, you can see that this number is close to that original median that we came up with that we said was the best representation of the data. So when you subtract that from the original mean, which was $9.65, that is a difference of 98 cents. So that's, when you think about it, that's actually quite significant because it's almost $1 more per hour, which would be a significant amount of money. Let's see, if we remove, again, that $16.50 and go exactly halfway, that gives us a median of $8.65. In this case, that's only a difference of a nickel, so that's not super significant. And then our mode is actually unchanged because you're removing that dollar amount on the bottom, so you still have the same one that repeats. All right, so I want you to read this next question. It says, describe one possible explanation for the outlier. So why do you think there might be one person who's getting a wage of $16.50? So obviously here answers can vary. So I want you to think about this question. I want you to write your own answer, and then this is something we'll come back to and talk about in class tomorrow. We're going to keep moving on to the second part of our notes, and you have a new vocabulary word here. This one should also be familiar to you. You should be very familiar with the word range. The range is the difference between the highest and lowest numbers in the set of data. So I know I've talked about this before when we are trying to determine a scale for our axes when we're doing graphing. Determining the range in your set of data is very important. So here we're going to look at it. We have 2 sets of data. It says 2 reality cooking shows select 12 contestants. And the ages are shown in the table. They want you to find the range for each show. So for show A, sorry about that, looking at my table here, it looks like my largest number in the set of data is 31. My smallest number in the set of data is 19. So if I subtract 31 and 19, by the way, notice I'm writing my calculation down, even though I'm plugging, you could be doing this in your head or plugging it in your calculator, but I'm still showing how I'm calculating the range. Okay, so 31 take away 19 is 12. So my range is 12 years. And for show B, 48 minus 19. Again, here 48 is my largest number in the set of data. 19 is my smallest number in the set of data. And so the range for this set of data is 29 years if you subtract those 2 numbers. Okay, so part B just says compare the results, which is more spread out, meaning which one has a larger range. So I just said the ages in show B have a larger range. Okay, so that's it. Oh, sorry about that. That is it for notes for this evening. You will have some time to work in class tomorrow on your assignment and just bring any questions that you have back to class with you. Have a good night.